Hello, hello. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Vanessa. I'm the Chicago face artist. I'm an esthetician and professional makeup artist and business manager of 27 years. So here I am today. I'm at the end of my workday. It's been a long day for me and my face is looking glassy. It is looking glassy. And so it is that time of day where I would wind down, jump in the shower. Today, we're gonna just wash my face and I'm gonna show you how to do like an at-home dermaplaning. Now, before we get started, I want you to keep in mind, this is not something you wanna do under certain circumstances, okay? Number one, you wanna be really careful with any kind of scalpel, any kind of blade, any kind of razor on your face. Like, be really careful. Don't be like, intoxicated. You wanna be pretty sober and you wanna make sure that you are not nervous, not like fidgeting. You wanna make sure that you're somewhat relaxed, calm, and composed to do something of this nature. I do this quite a bit and I still often nick my skin. It's potential this might happen even while I'm showing you how to do this. So I want you to understand that it is very easy to do. And I want you to understand that if you should do something of that nature, I'm also not going to be held reliable for anything that you do to yourself. So I want to say that first and foremost as well. I'm simply showing you what works for me so that you can, if you are comfortable and, want to try and do something like this at your own will, it is at your own will. I'm just showing you what works for me. I've been doing this method. I am a licensed esthetician. Like I said, I have been doing this method on my skin, which I am 45. Licensed esthetician for 26, 27 years. I want to say licensed esthetician for 26 years and professional makeup artist for 27. As you can see, I still have texture. But for a 45-year-old woman who works full-time, part-time, manages their own household, has 3 kids, and doesn't do Botox, fillers, doesn't do anything of that nature. I've been doing this method that I'm going to show you right now. I've been doing it for 7 years. 7 years. And very intentionally for a good 6. The past year, I really have not been doing it as much. So what I like to use is I like to use these tinkle razors. It's literally a tinkle razor. I get a whole box of disposable ones from Amazon. And what I like to do is I use these on a clean skin. And I'm going to walk through all the steps, but just really quickly, tinkle razors, I like to have an extra wash rag, which when I go to wash my face, I'm gonna actually wet this. I do have a towel laid out. I will have a mirror as well sitting kind of here in front of me when I do it. This has a nice magnifier on it. So the magnifier is going to help me to, be very smart and mindful. I often do this when I'm taking a bath. When I'm like bathing and like just in between like washing and what have you and relaxing, I'll do this method with like just a standard, not this mirror, but like a hand mirror, smaller. It's a bigger mirror, but it's more flat. Doesn't have like a base like this. It's like a classic hand mirror. And so when you do things of this nature, I want you to be really mindful about the lighting. Again, how comfortable you are with what you're doing. You want to make sure that, like I said, you are reliable for your own self, okay? I'm not. And so what I'm teaching you is you want to make sure that when you're doing certain things, and we'll walk through this, but I really want to emphasize this in the beginning, is when you're doing things of this nature, you really want to make sure that you're using the angles with the light, okay? Same thing when you're applying makeup. You should always be moving your face up, down, so you get different angles and you can see different areas of your face, because we have areas that create shadows and create brightness, and we need the light and we need to move with it to get the best outcome. So I will be using a headband. So when I'm done washing my face, I'll come back with my headband on, hair up, probably a robe on. But I am also, what I like to have on hand is I like to have a toner, whether it's a classic toner or a spray mist, and a face oil. Now, please, a face oil that you could use a coconut oil, you could use an olive oil. Those are safe for something like this. I personally am going to be using this Hollywood Beauty Vitamin E oil because it's a vitamin E, which is really, you know, about younger looking skin. It promotes healthy structure. So I'm going to be using that. I did contemplate using my Clarins. This is like my treatment oil that I wear at night before I go to bed when I do my evening routine. I do use this, but I don't really want to put this on and then shave it off. And then, because when I'm done, I'm going to have to wipe the face all down and then do my skincare, like not my skincare, but my treatments. So I promise, this is so worth it. Like I said, I was doing this 7 years, 6 of the 7 really diligently, every 2 weeks or every week, sometimes just once a month. And I exfoliate on top of that. And I have a really good skincare regime. And you can see my skin looks great for 45. For someone who uses their expressions, doesn't do Botox. I mean, yes, I have lines. I have a number 1. I have smile lines. And I have even like fine lines starting to kind of come in here. But I'm 45 and my skin looks amazing. People stop me and they're like, your skin, holy cow. People come up to my counter at my full-time job and people just stare. They get close too. Like they're like really looking at my skin and they're like, your skin looks so good. And then, you know, it's always the makeup. I love your makeup. And then it's funny how they stare at the makeup. I'll take it. I'm humble about it. But it is really nice to know I'm doing something good. But so, and there's a lot of opinions about this, which fine. You know, everyone has an opinion about everything. And that's fine. There's a lot of opinions that say, no, this is bad. Does it make your hair grow in thicker? No. Absolutely not. It does not make your hair grow in thicker. Does it, I don't even know. Like some people have said, oh, this won't work. And it doesn't work quite as effectively if you go to an esthetician and get an actual derma-planing service. A derma-planing service with an esthetician is going to be a bare bone blade. This is not. This is more like a fine hair razor. And these are disposable. Once you use it and you use it in its entirety, throw it away. Don't. And especially don't save it if it's all gunky. I know some of you out there. I know the nonsense and the bullshit you do. Stop it. Throw it away. So let's get my face washed. I'll be back. Hi. All right, we're back. So my face is washed, still has that glass look. It's literally just, I did my makeup remover, I double cleansed, and then I put a little bit of my Estee Lauder Soft Clean Infusion Hydrating Essence Lotion, amino acids and water lily. I've been using this for a long time. This, I think, runs for like $42, and it is huge. It's 13.5 ounces. This one is for dry skin. Clearly, I think we can recognize I'm not really a dry skin, but I do have moments of dryness. And my skin has been getting drier as I've been aging. For a 45-year-old woman, I feel like I need some good hydration. And so, so you can see, like, it just helps it's an essence, so it helps your skin care penetrate deeper down. It's really like tightening on the skin, so it's very much more firming, lifting, tightening. It's really nice. I love this stuff, and I like to just pour a little bit, like a size of like a nickel to a quarter in my hand, warm it up, and just spread it on. But it tones, it balances the pH levels. And like I said, it tightens everything up, which I love. And it has some hydration to it. But so that's it. That's all I put on so far. So I like to have my hair in a headband when I do this, because I like to be really careful along the hairline. Obviously, I don't want any hairs getting shaved off. I do tend to occasionally get like a couple here as I'm moving about. But again, if you should cut yourself while you're doing this, it's very important that you address that cut very diligently. And then I would give this a really good rinse. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get myself a little bowl of water. So you give like a nice good rinse. Obviously, I would suggest doing this at like a makeup table or in your bathroom if possible, and make sure that you have some kind of water source, because you're going to want to kind of swish this clean as you're going. So I'm gonna get a bowl of water. And then again, you wanna make sure that you have a face oil. I always like to have a dry wash rag close by, just in case. And then I always like to have a wet wash rag. And then I like to have a wet microfiber. So these I use to like wash my face, and I love to have them, hence like, you know, makeup stained. But I like to have these close by, just to use as rags, or if I want to wipe my face, what have you. So I'm gonna get that bowl of water. Bowl of warm water. Okay, so I like to apply my face oil when my skin is kind of dampened. So I am going to take a little bit of that toner lotion and put it all over. And now I'm gonna take this Hollywood Beauty Vitamin E oil. We're gonna get a decent sized amount. So I'm using about 4 to 5 drops. So it's about the size of like a nickel. Warm it up. Oh. We're not gonna do the neck, but I still like to put some oil on the neck. This is strictly the face. And if you do nick yourself, it's very important that you rinse it or use one of your wet wash rags to kind of, you know, tend to it. And then you want to make sure that you're not running your blade over that spot again. Also, if you nick yourself, my favorite way to clean any kind of cut or open wound, as far as like any kind of cut, scrape, anything of that nature, my favorite thing to do is to use peroxide. Like I literally pour peroxide right over it, or I'll take a Q-tip and get a good amount of peroxide on the Q-tip and like spot treat. And then you want to do Neosporin at night to keep from scarring. Okay, so I have my oil on. Okay, I'm gonna take my razor. I'm gonna get it wet, or wetten it a bit. Okay, and I'm just gonna give it a couple taps on a dry wash rag. And I like to start at the forehead. So when I do this, I like to get in the mirror really good, and I like to do little short downward strokes. And I have the razor at an angle. And then of course, when I get to my one, I like to put a little bit more friction on that. It helps lessen, that's a lot that came off that. It helps lessen the line. That's one of the things I love about this method is I noticed that it really helped reduce. Be careful when you get close to your brows. And again, you can be careful with like your hairline. But the thing I love about this procedure is it really helped lessen any facial expressions or lines or what have you. It really helps lessen them. It decreases them tremendously. And it's such a nice way to create a good amount of cell turnover, slough off dead skin. It feels so good the next day to have like this crisp skin. Like it feels like freshly shaven, like almost kind of, that's not right. That's not going to be the right adjective. It almost feels like just fresh skin. And now I don't know how much we'll be able to get, but when it comes to the, yeah, see, here we go, a little hair. It happens. I don't beat myself up about the ends here. It's like, and I actually have I know a lot of girls that actually like this because it kind of gets rid of their sideburns. I know a lot of girls that love this. So like that stuff doesn't bother me. But you want to be really careful around your brows and you want to be really careful around your main hairline. Sideburns, be gone with you. And I don't know, but when I get to the cheek, I do a lot of downward and you can see the dead skin and the peach fuzz. That's all dead skin. And I like to do this with like dampness, like water, because you don't want to nick the skin. And if you're doing this on a dry skin with a dry blade, you're gonna nick your face. But so when I get to the cheek area, I like to kind of do up and down. When I get into this inner corner here, I like to kind of brace, you know, part of the face. And then I like to again, really work the skin in soft downward strokes or upward strokes. See that? And then, and so now obviously when I'm done with this, I will get in the shower. And so I'll wash my face again, especially because I'm doing this in this manner. You wouldn't necessarily have to do that when you're in a different kind of fashion than I am, or setting. Like when I'm in the bath, I'll take one of these and I'll wipe my face really good, and then I'll rinse the rag really good, and then I'll wipe my face again. So it's like kind of like you're just getting all that dead stuff off. Now, I do like to do a little bit of the under eye. So I basically pull taut. And again, you want to be really careful. Watch your eyelashes. But I like to get right in here. Sometimes we can get a little bit of milia in here. Milia is like those little like hardened white Like you think they're blemishes, but they're not. They're little tiny white balls of like built up keratin. Sometimes they're white balls of built up oil and keratin. Sometimes, you know, there's, you know, a little bit of like debris from not cleansing appropriately. But I do like to get a little bit of this under eye area because I like to just get some of that dead skin off. It helps smooth the fine lines and wrinkles. And like I said, it's great for cell turnover. It's great for like a soft exfoliation, but you want to be really soft-handed, and you don't want to put a lot of pressure either. So you want to be careful. Now you can see I have that little line right there. So I like to put just a soft bit of emphasis there. Okay. And then I do kind of tend to do the cheeks a lot. Because I like to make sure that I get all the hair. The peach fuzz, just, I used to be such a like peach fuzz, like, oh, I love peach fuzz. Not after doing this and seeing how much it's benefited my skin, but then how much better my makeup wears. Oh, that's a game changer. Game changer. And then to know that the hair does not grow back thicker and the way it feels, oh my gosh. It's like, we always talk about how men age so nicely, and they just, you know, don't put the kind of skincare that we do into their face. And it's because they shave. They're taking all that dead skin off when they shave. So one thing for me is I get some like I get a couple of darker hairs right here. So that's why I'm like, I need to do this so bad. And then I get a couple of like, they call them goat hairs, where they're like kind of like a thicker hair, and they're usually hormonal. But so I like to really focus on the underside too, because I like to get that peach fuzz off, but then I want to get rid of those goat hairs. See, did I nick myself?
You'd see all the gunk. I gotta get my mirror here. Oops. And now for me, I have to be really careful with like sharp angles. So for instance, my chin, my jaw, those are easy spots to nick. So if you have any like sharper angles of your face, be really gentle when you're doing this. So now I'm gonna come here and focus a bit on the smile line. I'm gonna come in and do my chin. Sorry. I got a little too invested in my mirror. So I'm basically coming in. I'm going like this to get like the inner corner of the mouth. Because oftentimes our lip products will kind of build up and we get, again, like really fine, tiny little milias around there, and this really helps to get rid of that. But also, while you're watching this, I want you to really notice how I'm like not using a ton of pressure. There's not a lot of pressure going into this, okay? I'm really soft with this. And again, I have some angles here that I want to be really careful with, because if we work on them too strongly, we can nick the skin, and we don't want to do that. So again, I like to go up and down because I really want to get the dead skin, as much dead skin and peach fuzz off as I possibly can. Now I do like to really focus on the jawline. And then I have some lines here, like marionette lines, which are totally normal. But through age, they've become a little bit more pronounced, so this has helped keep them at bay. Hi, honey. So you can see, I kind of nicked myself a little bit there. It's really not bad. Actually, I didn't nick myself. You know what that is? That was a really deep blemish that I had earlier in the week that I really worked the heck out of. And so because I ran over it and pulled off all that dead skin, it's a little bit raw. But I did not nick myself. Now, before we move on to the rest of this cheek, I want to cover upper lip. We're just going to do really carefully. When you get to your Cupid's bow, pull down to make the skin nice and taut. And then, we're just going to do one quick little upward. Now, with the nose, lots of angles. We want to be really careful. You can even skip the nose, but I love to get the dead skin off. So what I like to do with the nose is I kind of pull taut, and I get the side, and then I use this, like, top portion of the blade here, and I carefully, very so carefully, and very so lightly do like little light buffs, and I work within the crevices of the nose. And then even in the underside, this is another great way too to keep your pores nice and clean. And then I just so lightly skim over the nostril area, because we always have flaky skin around there. And then when I do the under, I pull down. You want to be really like mindful when you're doing this. This is not for the faint of heart either. You cannot be in a hurry. And you want to make sure you time things like this in a certain way. So for instance, if you are getting married tomorrow, you don't want to do this the night before. Okay. Sometimes you'll get some blackheads that come out, which is nice. Now, I have a little, like, fine bit of lining right there that I've just always had. Be careful of your lashes when you're working with this. You don't want to skim them. Now, keep in mind, too, doing something of this nature, you might find that you'll have a little bit of purging after. So you might get a little bit of breakout. You might get a little red, so not a good time if you're going to go to the tanning bed or go to the beach. If you do, make sure you wear a good ample amount of sunscreen and wear a hat. Keep your face out of the sun as much as possible when you do something like this. Now, obviously, as I get closer to my ear, I like to pull the ear out. So the skin's nice and taut and I can get in there easily. Now we're almost done. See how nice and easy this is, really? I mean, ultimately, it's really very easy. I'm going to do a little bit of the under eye. Get that little line there. And notice how, too, like I move this around. Sometimes I'm coming in this way. Sometimes I'm coming in this way. Sometimes I'm coming in this way. So you have to be flexible with how you're doing this. If you have some sort of disability that you can't do that, then this is not for you. So again, I like to come in, work that one, go back over the center of the forehead really lightly. And again, be really careful of your brows. I like to work over those lines more. Got some hair built up on there. All right, that's pretty much it. So you can see, it's a little reddened. Doing this kind of enhanced a little bit of that last scar. So last time I did this was well over a month ago, and I nicked myself really good right here. So it did enhance that a bit. I do have a teensy tiny little nick here, and just like, you know, a little bit of redness. And it's just from the natural friction. But overall, this is a really great job. There's like just a little bit of peach fuzz in this underside here. Not much. But we've got a lot of peach fuzz gone. We have a lot, oh gosh, excuse me. A lot of peach fuzz gone and a lot of dead skin gone. So now, what I would do is take my rag, a clean rag. I would normally use my microfiber, but I ended up using it to wipe the blade off. So I don't want to use it on my face. And then if you're at the sink or in the shower, well, in the shower, don't do this. But if you want to turn the shower on after and get in, then you could rinse really good. And then you don't need to clean again. You can, but you don't really need to, because you did this on a clean skin, you sloughed off tons of dead skin, and now it's like, not necessarily raw, that's not the right word, but it's fresh skin. Fresh skin. We got rid of tons of dead skin. We got rid of tons of like hair. The bowl is dingy. I don't know how to show you, but it's dingy. So it just goes to show. Yeah, look at that. That shows. That's so much dead skin. And there's also peach fuzz mixed in there. So that just goes to show, like, the top. I wish I could show you the top of it. The top of it is, like, gross. Like, you could really see the top of it. Gross. But so now, like, oh, it feels so nice and tight. And it feels fresh. And like firmer, and it really does help. It helps keep the skin nice and youthful. We're taking off dead skin, revealing more youthful skin underneath. So great way to exfoliate, get a deep exfoliation. I love doing this, excuse me, I need to blow my nose. I love doing this at least once a month. I really love doing it twice a week. That's my favorite, is doing this twice a week. That's when I'm like in my most top form of life. But I'm pleased if I can get this done at least once a month. Ugh. And then the makeup wears better, your skincare penetrates deeper down, you get more efficiency out of everything. So, yes. If you have any questions or concerns, please let me know. If this is something that you would like to do more hands-on, one-on-one, I do offer a service in my just outside of Chicago studio. There is a service fee. But yeah. At your own risk, folks. Be smart. Don't be silly, all right? You are liable for yourself, not me. I'm just showing you what I do that helps my skin. And if you genuinely put some good thought and consideration into whether or not you can handle this like I did, then give it a consideration. But I love it. And your makeup goes on so smooth. Love it. So thank you for watching. Hope this was helpful, educational, and yeah, if you want to see anything specific, you can always drop something in the comments. But thank you for being here. Good night.